Aloha. Welcome, everyone. It is Aloha Friday. And if any of you guys have been watching Jet and I in chat, we've been talking about the good old, we have a little Hawaiian little song in Hawaii about Aloha Friday. Aloha Friday used to be the day everyone dressed up and you wore your mu'u, aloha shirt, all that. And for some reason, something has happened with that in the last couple of years. And it's not nearly as prevalent as it used to be. But we still celebrate Aloha Friday because who wouldn't celebrate an awesome day of the week for many of us who do not have to go back to work until Monday? So they even had a whole song. Okay, since right now I don't even know how many people are there. I might actually sing the song because no one will see it till later on, which is even better. And but no, Aloha Friday is always, let's see, how would it go? It's Aloha Friday, no work till Monday. A-doo-ba-doo. I doobie-doobie-doobie-doobie-doo, boop-boo. Anyhow, it's Aloha Friday. Welcome to the Local My Life. And yes, I don't know why I have energy. I've had one cup of coffee all day and that's it. And I actually woke up early. So it does not make any sense to me why I have all this energy right now, but I do. And I'm hoping it doesn't spread to the pups because they've been going crazy since I sat down here. I have these magic little chews that I gave both of them right when we got down to 10 seconds before I went live. So I'm hoping that works. If not, you will see me have to get up and go throw them into the quiet room because no one is at home right now to take them away from me. So everyone's out right now doing errands and stuff like that. And also, welcome, everyone. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend, and we will be moving on to some, oh my gosh, I've been rereading, getting ready for this week for the 4 agreements. And I had just a little background on this 5th agreement, actually, is it was not part of the original books. The original book, of course, was the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Don Miguel Ruiz actually was from a line of Toltec healers. And he decided instead of going into the normal family business, a shaman and stuff like that, he would focus more on the side of healing. And I'm hoping my internet works. I'm getting an issue right now that it is not stable. So I'm hoping I'm fine. Let me know in chat if I am not working well, and I may have to move my location today because the internet's been real weird. And also, please let me know if my internet is not working out real well. Crossing my fingers. But yeah, hey, Rosaline, how you doing, my dear? And there's the dogs. As soon as they heard the word hello. See what happens. They're well trained. Yeah, sure. Anyone who knows my dogs, no, they are not well trained. So, yeah, Don Miguel Ruiz actually started off as part of a family that was shamanistic healers in the Toltec, knowledge. As he got older, instead of going in that route, he decided to become a doctor and focus more on the scientific side of things. And I think he had an accident or something and kind of worked his way, his whole life kind of went back into the idea of the shamanistic way of healing, everything that comes from the 4 agreements, Toltec wisdom, all that. Rosaline has put in our PDF for the book. Thank you so much. You are the bomb, Rosaline. You are awesome. So thank you so much for doing that. Please take a chance, read that book. It's awesome. It's, like I've said over and over, I read this book years and years, decades ago. And I've now come back to it now, and it has truly surprised me how much I had kind of forgotten over the years. And I'm now trying to recenter on those 4 agreements, kind of remake those agreements within myself, go back to being impeccable in my word. I love you, Rosaline. Being impeccable with my word, not taking things personally, not making assumptions, doing my best, all those things. Jet's mom. I did sing the song at the beginning. I did go and sing that song at the beginning. So it is Aloha Friday. But this fifth book, the fifth agreement, actually came a couple years later. And hey, Kelly, thanks for joining us. And this is the time I like the best. Okay, the first 10 to 15 minutes of every live is the best because I get to see everyone pop in and I love it. And the fifth agreement, as many of you guys probably have been noticing, you were here, Jets, Mom. Awesome, Margie. That's great to know. And because I grew up singing that song in class and stuff like that. Tia, thanks for coming today. And there goes the bar. Hey, little girl, stop barking. And so we got into this thing as the years go by. Pia, come here. Stop barking. There you go. Treats. Treats are wonderful, except for this one's now jealous. So you can have this one. Take it away. What do I got for you? Yes, you can have that one back now. I don't think she's going to fall for it, but we'll try. Oh, she fell for it. That's good. So anyhow, the fifth agreement came out of this idea that even after we had our 4 other agreements and people are starting to look at their own life and their own path using those 4 agreements, there's still a couple things missing. The world we live in has a lot of shades of gray. I always go back to talking about whether it's in fights, arguments, stories, all sorts of stuff. You've got one side, other side, and then the truth somewhere in the middle. Things are not black and white usually in life. There's all these shades of gray. Why? Why are all these shades of gray coming up? If you look at nature in general, nature doesn't have really shades of gray. Everything really is, okay, the truth. Okay, it is real. It is what it is. You don't get into all these other little areas where you're not sure, how do I take this? How do I take that? So coming into this fifth agreement, it's kind of addressing a lot of those issues. To start with, the fifth agreement, as I mentioned, is be skeptical, but learn to listen. Why do those two go together? Okay, many of us have been skeptical in our lives, and many of us, we're listening, or we're trying to learn how to listen. How do you combine those where it actually makes a difference in your life? Mr. Ruiz actually talks about when we are born, okay, our life, we talk about being a cycle, just multiple cycles upon cycles. There's a lot of symbols in our life. And he talks about the power of symbols. So when we are born, every one of us start off as this boilerplate, okay, of us. Not of everyone else, but of us. Okay, I've got brown eyes, got the brown hair. Okay, I'm on the bigger bone side, all those things. Okay, we have our own idea of what we are supposed to be like. Genes set up the truth of who we are. We're programmed based off of those genes. Those genes kind of set up, even to the point of diseases now. We're discovering where those genes are setting up the future of what our life is. Do you have the BRCA gene, for example, for breast cancer and ovarian cancer, things like that? They start changing what our whole life is supposed to be going forward. The thing is, as we get older, something starts happening. Okay, we've all seen these kids. Kids, hey, Sandra, welcome. And we see our kids. Okay, I know a couple of you guys have kids here in this group. That reckless abandon that they have. They know what they want. They know what they need right then, right there. Okay, they live almost intuitively, if that makes sense. Okay, they are living based off of what that programming is set up with inside their body. They haven't been taught all these other symbols yet. Okay, our words, things on that level, which we'll discuss. But what starts happening is as we get older and we learn words, we learn the way to think, that domestication process we were talking about. We start getting a conflict between that programming of our genes and the symbols of the words and everything we are taught during the domestication process. Okay, that causes confusion because on one side, your body is telling you one thing, but on the other side, your head is saying something different. And we get into this back and forth between the two, a conflict between the two. When we are young, okay, we live simply, intuitively. We know what we like. We know what we don't like. There's usually reasons behind that. If a kid is refusing very, very young to eat certain things or whatever, there may actually be a reason behind that. There's something genetically there. Yeah, could also be they don't like peas or broccoli or something like that too. But you know what? There's a very good chance that there's something going on there. They know what their body needs and doesn't need. Okay, and sometimes they know what they want, but it's colored by not knowing all these symbols and the reasons behind everything else. However, as we get older, we start to follow that thinking mindset. We start learning, like I said, language. Language is words. Okay, language is figuring out what, not just the meaning of the word, but subtext around the meaning. Okay, words are symbols for real things as well as not real things. As we learn those words, as we learn these symbols, things start changing and our agreements start to change. Hey, Dawn, welcome. Consider it this way. If we go back to our agreements, okay, when we are talking, one of the first agreements we looked at was being impeccable with our words. So our words and how we speak lead to an idea of right or wrong. It's not necessarily everything's always right with what we say or everything what's wrong. It's based off of what we're saying, the meaning behind the words we're using. And then from the right or wrong, we have a behavior change. Okay, if we are talking about something and we know it is right, our behavior is going to change based off of that. On the other hand, if we are talking gossip and we know that's wrong, we have a different behavior that comes into play. And I think most of us can probably go into our heads and remember when we participated in gossip, there's a slight change in your own behavior as you're doing that. And then finally, it leads up to the rewards and punishment that we talked about with being your best. Okay, if you're talking, gossiping, and stuff like that, it's leading to a punishment. Okay, that punishment may be something overt. It may be something within your own heart that you're feeling. And all of that is a short version of how our 4 agreements come into play with the symbols of our words, all starting back on the words itself. So how can a word be a symbol? A word's a word's a word. That's what the dictionary, Webster's, when I open it up, it has a definition, and that's all it has. Take probably, okay, a very easy common word, ball. Okay, a ball. I mean, how overt can that be? Okay, it's a round object that bounces upside down, up and down and all that. However, we start putting symbols behind that. It's not just the round ball or football or whatever it is, type of ball it is, but we put other meanings behind it. That ball now symbolizes sports. It symbolizes competition. You look at a football, and if you're a football player, automatically you're getting into competitive frame of mind. It may be talking about exercise. You see that ball and you're like, oh God, I got to go exercise. Ball doesn't mean exercise, but how is it that that word ball is now taking on these other meanings, subtext, if you would? And it could even go so far as, hey guys, come here, Pia. Here, you can have the puppy's food. There you go. And so see, you should see all the presents and toys and treats and all that I got on this desk. It's ridiculous. And it can go all the way, though, that word ball, to fame. If you've been working through high school towards scholarships and things like that, you're working towards an end result of fame, and that baseball may symbolize fame to you. So you can start seeing where words become more than just the word, the Webster dictionary definition of that word. But then we can take it one step further. How many of us right now in this room all come from the same exact culture? I mean, heck, we don't even probably have all the same countries among this group and community. I know we don't have the same countries. But then even beyond that, you've got cultures. Words to me definitely do not mean the same as they do on the mainland. Okay, totally different thought processes there. So these words that are developing symbols that most people would think, yeah, ball could mean sports to most people, they also take on additional meanings. I used the term one time I had a really amazing friend who was from Wales, lived in Canada. She was a nanny. And I'll never forget, I used to use the word twerp, T-W-E-R-P. It was a loving little comment to me, okay? Anyone that I loved and I really cared about, okay, I would lovingly call them, oh, my little twerp, or oh, you're such a twerp, or something like that. All of a sudden, I had noticed anytime I said anything to her, she did not quite react like everyone else. And then one day she informed me. The reason why is it's a derogatory term from where she came from. So a word that meant totally normal stuff to me became totally different for her. Okay, the symbols behind it totally. Pia, come here. Okay, the symbols behind it were really great. I think I'm going to hold her because, sorry, you guys can see Mama Puppy here instead since she's been so noisy today. So the word became a little bit more than what I thought it was. And I realized I was using a term that was causing confusion for other people. We talk about that now with, okay, not getting into the racial stuff and things like that, but a lot of the comments that we all say to people take on different meanings because we are not part of a certain culture. And that adds to the confusion of things. So as we're getting older, we're learning more and more of these symbols. Okay, the symbols that are telling us believe this when you say this word, feel this way. If you're talking about the snow outside, you're going to feel a different way. If you're someone who's never seen snow as compared to someone who deals with it every single day of their life and they just want it done. Okay, totally different thought processes there. So as we get older, this confusion gets more and more difficult to deal with. Because again, inside us, our genes have set up a truth. But for some reason, words and communication are not quite matching that truth anymore. So we start doing that thing that we all tend to hear about when people get into high school and college years. We decide we need to find ourselves. Okay, we need to figure out what the hell's going on in my life. Why am I here? Okay, oh my God, that girl, I love you. I love you. And all things. And we want to know why is it that when we feel and say certain ways, people don't seem to agree with us on that. And that's when we start going out and trying to figure things out about ourselves and about the people around us. We start dabbling in all sorts of different things because we're just trying to find the truth, because the truth that our body is telling us is not the truth that our head is telling us anymore. So how do we find that combination of things? So we start searching for ourselves, understanding things, talking to other people and learning where they come up with their thought processes. When they say certain words, they want to know. And I love you. And thank you, that girl. We want to know where they're coming from with that. Okay, we don't want to hurt people. None of us like hurting people. I guarantee you out of this group here, I don't see people who want, if you wanted to hurt people and you're part of this group, you're in the wrong group. Okay, plain and simple. Okay, every one of the people that I know in this chat, okay, and the people that are lurking and stuff like that, they don't want to hurt people. They want to understand other people so they don't hurt other ones. And that's what we're here for. We try to make the thing, we look at nature. That's one reason why you'll notice a lot of people when they're trying to find themselves, they go out in nature. They go on those grand tours of Europe or the mountains or the ocean or things like that to find themselves. Why would you go out in nature to find yourself? Okay, it's something I even wondered at one time, because it never fails when people talk about grounding themselves or finding out who they are. They say, oh, I go out into nature and I put my feet into the earth and stuff like that. Nature is real. Like I said earlier, there are no shades of gray in nature. Everything is absolute. When you see certain things, everything makes sense. I actually did not get to send it to him, but I was actually doing a video to Robbie the other day on his anniversary of his sobriety. It's 10 months. And I talked to him in it of the word pono in Hawaii. Pono in Hawaii means finding the truth and the balance between you and life. So it's in nature, you see it, that balance, that harmony that is in nature, that we tend to start missing and we lack, and we want that. We want to live pono. We want to live in harmony, in truth. And that's where we go. We go to nature to see that. We want to see what truth really is, what real is. And nature helps show us that. So as we go out doing that, we can try to find out what is truth, because, okay, come on, truth all has to be the same. No. Okay, as we start looking at things, we discover that truths can vary. Truth itself can vary from one person to another. But in the end, it's absolute. Okay, truth for different people are very absolute. There are things they base their life on. One way to put it is this. If you're going to look at what truth is versus perception, because that's what it comes down to. What is the truth and what is your perception of things? Truth is science. Anyone here who's been in science, and I can point out a couple of you right now in this chat that are more science-based, nurses. Okay, that girl, Amber's not here right yet, but I know her, all that. There's a truth to science, math. Okay, there is no variable in any of those things. That's why I hated it, because I had to always be right. I couldn't talk my way out of it. Okay, while on the other hand, there's your perception. Perception is art. Okay, you look at, years ago, I remember we would put money into different artwork pieces and people be like, oh my God, that's the worst thing in the world. It goes against my beliefs if it was a Christian thing or something like that, or it makes no sense. But you know what? To that artist, there was a perception that they truly felt and understood themselves. So when we're looking at things, truth is science. Truth does not vary. There is a truth to everything. The perception surrounding that truth is art. It's the stuff that is colored by our experiences, the symbols behind our words. And yes, I'm watching the dog behind me. She doesn't understand why I'm not holding her and I'm holding the other one instead. So hopefully she won't realize it's because this one's causing noise. But that's where the key to the whole fifth agreement comes. This truth versus art, science versus perception. Okay. When we see the difference between our art, our perception, and our science, truth, we now start to become self-aware. We become aware of everything going on around us because we are not seeing that perception as truth anymore, because that's where troubles begin. People see their perception of things as the truth, and it is their perception. It is their art side of things, the creative side, the place where we put our symbols to match those words. And that's where we open up. It's cool. Dawn, you have no idea how many times I go type things and I look back or someone reads it out loud and I'm like, oh shit, what the heck did I just say? Yeah, way too much, way too much. And so as we start doing this and we discover what the difference is between the two, okay, the truth versus the perception, we now move into this area of self-mastery, finding ourselves, learning who we are, how to deal with our beliefs, how to deal with other people and their beliefs without telling them that they're wrong for their beliefs, because you know what? That's their perception. It's not the truth. Just because they believe in something that we don't agree with doesn't mean one of us has the truth behind us and the other doesn't. It is their perception of the truth. Self-mastery is on multiple levels. We have our mastery of awareness, mastery of knowing what is going on around us, being aware of people around us, how they feel. Because if we, of course, know that people's words have symbols attached to them, we now start realizing that we need to be aware of those things. Our eyes are open to that possibility that everything is not black and white anymore. And we need to be aware of what they're thinking, what they are saying behind what's going on. We become a master of transformation. Okay, we start to realize our own words, we can change the symbols behind them. We can transform those symbols. They don't have to mean what we thought anymore. And that changing allows us to then begin to change the way we interact with the world. So a mastery of faith. Okay, faith in how you react to things in the world. We can begin to break the chains of the past, because the words that are tying us to our past, many times the reason why they're tying us down and we're not able to move any further on something, okay, going again back to the idea of a survivor issue, okay, addiction issues, whatever, okay, you are tied to whatever is happened in your life because of the symbols you've put to those words. You're giving those words, whatever happened, more power because of what you've tied to the word itself. That's why people talk about, okay, I'm not sure if it's actually a word I can say or not on here, but I'm going to say it anyhow because I feel it's important for us to be able to say. Okay, the word rape. How many people are scared to death to say the word at first? Okay, you don't want people to hear that word because it holds a power behind it that scares the hell out of us. Okay, it's a realization that's just so hard. Harry Potter, Voldemort. That word had power. All it was the word. It was a name. But it was the symbols behind the name that made the difference to people and why people in the community, okay, they did not want to say the name. Only a few people were like, you know what? No, the name doesn't hold any power behind it. It's just a definition behind something. It's not the rest of all this bull crap we've given it. And I'm going to say the name Voldemort. I'm not going to go, he who must not be named or anything like that. I'm not going to give him that power. So we can now start making those changes. We can make that decision that everything that went on are words. The words aren't going to hurt us anymore. Okay, what happened, happened. The words don't hurt us. It's what we do moving forward. When we're talking to other people and we realize, in my case, the word twerp, I realized that word had a symbol, a connotation behind it that was hurting other people. And I then now had that ability, that mastery of self-transformation where I can change those words, the meaning behind them, and realize I'm not going to hurt other people as much anymore. And also, which then comes to, as we get this self-mastery, okay, we understand the words now. But how do you combine that with everything else and understand when things, other people, because we still have the other side. You can change all the stuff you want, but if other people have symbols behind their words, and they are going to have symbols behind their words, how are you going to deal with those? And that's where the doubt Okay. The being critical, not critical, skeptical comes into play. Okay. To doubt requires you listen. So he talks about be skeptical. Okay. Be skeptical. When someone comes to you and talks to you, be skeptical of the words that are being said. Know that there are symbols attached to those words. It's not that the person is right or wrong. You just need to make sure that you're understanding what is being said correctly. Not just jumping in thinking someone's come up with this amazing idea that they're sharing with you and you understand it completely because you're putting your own symbols to the words, your own definition to the words. Instead, you need to be thinking those things through. Okay, be doubtful. Okay, listening to what's being said so you could then try to figure out what's going on instead of just immediately saying, up, this is what's going on. Okay, this is the words they're using to me and this is right or this is wrong or this will work or this won't work. Hey, Gulf Coast Mama. And so you then start using that mastery you have now within yourself to doubt what's being said, to question. Always question. There's nothing wrong with questioning stuff. When I went back for my grad school work, it was the first time in my life I realized it was okay to question people in charge. It was fine. They wanted me to. They wanted me to try to figure things out for myself instead of just accepting everything everyone was saying. So question the symbols that are coming with these new comments to people. Okay. As you do that, you're able to finally get to what is real. Okay. Using your other agreements. Okay. Not assuming what people are telling you as they're sharing this information. Okay. Because you know what? You now know. I don't need to take that comment personally. Okay, I don't have to assume this is what they're saying because I now know that there are symbols behind the words and I need to question those things. And that might be actually physically questioning them, asking them, what the hell, what? You trying to say this or is this what you're saying? Or you may know them well enough that you realize after being with them for years, you know exactly what they're thinking. And because you've gotten to know them so well. But being open to using that ability and coming up with true listening. I mentioned yesterday in Rosaling's chat, and Rosaling, by the way, Rosaling has an amazing, 3 different days that you can choose from, each day focusing slightly different. And last night we were talking about random acts of kindness, and it was so cool to sit there and come up with ways that we can help each other that don't take a lot. They don't even have to take money. Yeah, some of us like me, it's like, okay, we're going to share money. Okay, buy something at a drive-through for someone or something else. But you know what? You can do other things too. And one of the things that I came up with and other people mentioned too was just listening to people. And not the listening that we kind of get to that's like, oh, how's your day? Oh, I'm fine. And you're talking to the person as they're walking away, okay, at work. And you guys are crossing in the hallway and you're asking how each other are doing as you continue talking and walking. That's truly not listening. Listening is more than that. Listening is looking at the body language. Listening is listening to the words. And it's very hard to do it, even harder right now because we're all wearing masks and stuff like that. I think listening has become something we're kind of even more shy of doing right now because we can't see what's going on behind the mask and we want to be able to see the words. My mom's hard of hearing. She really needs to be able to see people's lips to be able to know what's going on. So an effective listener, someone who really knows how to listen, knows that there's those symbols behind words. There's connotations behind words. There's other belief systems behind words. And an effective listener is pulling all of that into their mind as they are translating what's being said. Even if it's in their own language, they're translating what's being said by looking at all those things. They also recognize that people are from different cultures. And what is good in one group is maybe not the best in another group. Hell, it may be a totally different word altogether. I mean, how many times I've choked around with people from Europe or Canada about what the hell is Z? Okay, no, it's Z. It's not Z, it's Z. And we get into this huge conversation going back and forth and everything. So our culture does make a difference in this. So by using this doubt, you can start discerning the difference between that truth, science, and art. Okay, the perception. You can start seeing that. Okay, what is, instead of everything always being one way, you learn to truly understand what's going on there. And that then leads to changing your reality. Your reality then begins to take into play everything that's going on around you. So this whole idea of, okay, being skeptical and learning to listen was one that I myself, as I started reading everything, because I had not actually read this portion as well. As I said, it was a different book that came out later. And I was like, how the hell is all this stuff going to match? Didn't quite make sense to me how it would. But then it dawned on me, this is truly just that piece. If you've ever, okay, I'm not sure how many of you guys, I know a couple of you crochet or knit or things like that. If you've ever done granny squares and you try to make the granny squares into an afghan or a blanket of some sort, you use a stitch to combine each of those granny squares. That's what this fifth agreement is. It's that connecting of all of these things, all of these other agreements. This is what's connecting them so that we can move forward as through unity between all four of those agreements rather than them being separate things in our head. It's truly one thought process when you look at it. So that's the fifth agreement. That's all it is. Okay, listen to people. Doubt. It's okay to question because you're questioning not to criticize. You're questioning to better understand. You're questioning so that you can use those other agreements and truly take that step forward. So that's it. That is our 4+1 freebie agreement to deal with. For those of you who know, I have been doing the Discord, and the last 2 weeks was not the greatest, but I'm starting to pick up on it again. And the idea of that Discord, truthfully, is a place where we can come together and work on these agreements as well as other things. We can work on journaling, okay, fun journals as well as serious journals. If there's an issue you're trying to work through, asking people for help on that, or just journaling it out. Okay, maybe you want to work on something and have that knowledge that there are people behind you who are going to have your back and you won't be totally alone doing it. It's a place for you to go. So it's definite. Discord's there for everyone. It's there for all of us to use in whatever way helps us. Now, moving on, I need to come up with some more ideas. So I'm going to be asking all of you guys within Discord as well as in this group and other chats and stuff when it pops up. What are things you guys would like to talk about? This was something I chose because I myself really needed a reminder of the 4 agreements because things were starting to fall apart for me. I found myself going down roads that I did not want to go down, and I needed to remind myself how to pull myself out of those roads. So are there areas, I know many people have talked about, okay, I've mentioned with Rosalie some of the Hawaiian stuff, like I mentioned Pono today, Ho'oponopono, things like that. Which I can talk about. Codependency. Codependency is a big thing. So think about those things. Are there certain things you would like to discuss as a group? Because if you're like me, if I'm dealing with these things on my own, I am not successful. I really do need my ohana, okay, my family here to help me with things because I fall back too quickly otherwise. And that's what I love about this group is it's become that type of situation. So before we kind of finish up this area and all, I did want to see, does anyone have any questions or comments or anything in chat that you wanted to throw in about the 4 agreements? Okay, questions you have on how to put them into play, what you are doing. I'd love to hear. What are some of you guys doing to address these things? Okay, how are you making sure you're following these agreements in your life? Yeah, you got it, Jet. Jet's mom, this community is truly Ohana. Ohana, like I said, it's more than a family. Okay, we all know that in real life. There are 2 types of family. There's the blood family, and then there's the family in heart. And that's what that is. Ho'oponopono, meditation, mediation actually comes in there also. The Hawaiian people are very spiritual people. They're very good at trying to deal with these types of things. And I've learned a lot just by being around them. I lived on Kauai, some of you guys know, for about 3.5 years. And I learned a hell of a lot during that time. But yeah, well, definitely that's something I think I need to prepare some stuff on. And also, any other questions or comments? I've seen, I'm going to say this. I have seen a lot of you taking these agreements real and activating real action on them in chats. I have seen people moving in one direction, and all of a sudden I can almost see them catch themselves, and they yank back and they re-angle themselves to ensure that they are addressing whatever's being said with these agreements in the back of their head. Okay, I go, that girl, okay, going into her Facebook. I see it in that Facebook quite a few times. The comments of what's coming out. In fact, guys, go check out her Facebook. It's got some really good stuff. Okay, I'm one who I love to read different ways of living my life and reminders of those. And every morning, if I open up, someone's posted some sort of little meme or something like that that truly pulls me back down and helps me remember where I am. So please take a look at that. It really does make a difference. You start feeling more at home because you realize you're not allowing everyone else to have control over you anymore. And that's the problem when we start going away from these agreements. We're losing that control, to be honest. Okay, we're allowing people to have that control over us by us taking things personally. Okay, by making assumptions, which 9 times out of 10 become assumptions where we feel everyone's against us or something. Again, we are giving people control over ourselves. Why? Why? Too many other times, okay, I mean, the government has control over us with taxes. We got control all over the place, okay, as to when you can go through a light, it has to be green before you can go. All these other things that are truly control, okay, for reasons, of course, but why give people that extra control? Doesn't make sense. But it's something we all do, myself including. Yeah, assuming is actually very dangerous. Okay, I see it all the time. And I think it's great. I've had some people remind me recently, local, you're making an assumption there, I think. Are you? Are you sure you're not making one? And I'm like, oh shit, yes, I am. Damn, I am. And you know what? Nothing says this was something I had to come to terms with. Okay, nothing says you cannot talk about an issue going on. Sometimes I think people feel that even talking about an issue becomes gossip. And this is me talking. This is not Don Miguel whatsoever. I think it's important for us to realize we have to address all the different issues of what's going on. Because we do. What did I just talk about? Okay, being skeptical and learning to listen. If you refuse to think about what's going on, because you're like, oh my God, that means I'm gossiping if I'm talking through this, what's going on this channel or in my family, extended family or whatever. But you know what? You've got to, if you're going to really listen and be skeptical, you've got to do that. But it's what you do with the information. It's how you address the information. Are you addressing it in that negative frame where you're judging? Because I think that's where the key word is judging, to be honest. Are you doing that talking with people because you're judging someone for what's going on? Okay, because guess what? We've all been in the same place. We've all needed help at one time or another. We're all at different places. It's an ongoing awakening, Rosalind, exactly. And all of us are at different places in that journey, in that awakening. We're all at different places. Why be negative towards other people because of where they are in their place? Because guess what? I guarantee you, there are people that are further along in their awakening than I am. So do I really want them to be criticizing me for where I am in mine? No. I do hope they would be open with me and tell me so I can better myself. But that's what the 4 Agreements is truly about. It's about becoming the best person, going back to your domestication. Okay, recognizing what you've been taught over all those years that is actually hurting you. Making those changes and moving forward. Yeah, Rosalind, I told people the other day that we do a lot of things subconsciously. And in my case, I was watching a true crime live the other night, and they were talking about a certain crime issue that had been going on. And I fell asleep during that live, and I'd been listening to it quietly in the background while I was sleeping. Woke up, I had this whole dream involving everyone involving in it, okay, from the actual players in the crime to the people who were on the panel to myself. And of course, everything surrounded me because, you know, we're all living in our own dream to begin with. Okay, that's what it goes back to, is that we're kind of all living in this dream-like state where each of us have our own different backgrounds and stuff. It just was weird when I had not put that together until Rosalind mentioned it to me yesterday. And I'm like, damn, that's good. So yeah, think about this, okay? As you're going through, just start thinking about your 4 agreements. Keep reminding yourself and each other about the 4 agreements. And now this 5th one, okay, about doubting, about being skeptical, about listening, actually listening to what's being said, okay? Letting the words actually go into your head and not just through your head. And also, so if there's nothing else anyone is interested in, we will go ahead, because I know everyone works hard as hell all week, and we get to the point of Friday night and we go through all this, and then guess what? It's time for us to play. And I want to play tonight. I really want to play tonight. And also, I'm thinking we'll go like we've done in the past, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, start at the top of the hour. I actually need to run down and pick something up at the store. So it's, oh gosh, we'd be talking 5 p.m. my time, which would be 10 p.m. just like last week. Would that work for everyone if we open up the cantina at 10 o'clock tonight? If that would, I will go ahead and post all that. And like hey, all open. I will post the link from the beginning where everyone can jump in and we can talk story and enjoy each other's company, hang out, work on projects. We can see how far Rosalind has gotten on her socks this week. Gulf Coast Mama, I have a funny feeling probably. Oh, Vintage is going live in a few, so 10 will work perfect. That's good. Okay, 10 o'clock Central, 8, I think, 8 Pacific time, and 5 my time. Yeah, sorry. Times are horrible when it comes to time zones, but I think 10 Mountain would be 8. I think 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. So, and just kind of, we'll hang out, we'll do whatever. Yeah, 1 hour, just about 1 hour. And also, guys, I just wanted to say, okay, as we're going through all this, I did not expect anything like this to come of this channel. This really was just somewhere for me to come and hang out because I enjoyed being with people. And it's really turning into something that I'm loving being part of. And you guys are what's making that different. I could journal in my own book and go do everything we just did in my own book, but it's being with you guys that really has made the difference for this. So I can't wait to figure out as we move forward what else to do. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you guys are what make it fun. So I love you guys also. Love you, Rosaline. I really do. And also, oh, this one's getting hot. So I'm going to let everyone go. And in a little over an hour, Friday night at the YT Cantina. Aloha Friday night at the YT Cantina. And we will have fun. Grab yourself your projects. Anything else? We'll see if Gulf Coast Mama's going to do her nails if she's going to be there. And have fun. Okay. Love you guys tons. And I will see you in an hour. Keep working towards your agreements. And I will see you then. Love y'all. Thank you guys tons. Thanks. Bye-bye. Love ya. Bye.